welcome to Challenge Monday number 3. It's hard to believe we're already at number 3, and this, believe it or not, is the third video for this week. So this is our part 3 of using the target stick. Some of you are using the click stick. Totally cool, that's awesome. I'm using the lollipop because I want you to be able to see the end. We're going to talk about how to fade the click stick or your target as you go. So some of you may be working like this, and some of you may be working with your hand at the end to get the extended reach, okay? So as we fade a target, we make it a little shorter each session. If your dog's having a hard time, that means you moved too fast, just bring it back out a little, but we're gonna start fading it until we get down to like literally the ball is in our hand. And I'm gonna teach you how to get rid of that in your training and how to put it on a different cue. That can be a hand signal or it can be a verbal cue. Really, it can be anything. It could be an environmental cue. It could be a post-it sign that we put up. So we'll be talking about cues and all the different things you can do a little later. But however, let's get started and show you how to teach a twirl. So we're going to start with our hand at the end. And if this is your target stick you're using, you're going to have it fully extended. And we're going to start to work on creating just a simple spin, okay? So a simple spin is super easy to teach, and our click point is when our dog is moving and following the stick. Right about here's our click point because that's where they're getting ready to turn and come back to us. The reinforcement finishes the circle, okay? So we're gonna start with that, and we'll see how we can get along with these two. They're a little bit hyper this morning. Ringo's really worked up and ready to go. So let's see what we can do. And the positioning of your click stick will definitely determine how your dog moves. So I'm gonna take it, I know that if I raise it too high, Ringo is gonna leap up in the air and do like a spin twirl thing. So I'm gonna bring him over here, and I'm gonna put Ruby up on her spot. Can you sit? Good girl. Okay, Ringo. Ruby, wait. Ready? So I'm keeping it low, and there I got a spin. Now, if I were to place this higher, I already know what Ringo's going to do. But what if I take that higher? Well, he didn't do it as badly. Typically, he jumps up and does a spin. Boy. So as we're fading this cue, this target stick, we're going to make it a little bit shorter. I'm doing it fast because Ringo already has had practice at this. You're probably going to spend a couple of sessions with this just fully extended. But I just shortened it a little bit. Also, another thing, when you're practicing this, don't lean over your dog and try to stretch. Try to stand straight. When we lean over them, it causes social pressure, and it makes it a little bit hard for them to concentrate. What? Ready up on the spot. You're going to get your turn. Come on, sweetie. Good girl. Sit. Good job. So if I wanted to put this on cue, and I wanted to use a verbal cue, I would say the cue, which I'm going to say twirl, and then I would do my spin. Twirl. So eventually Ringo will predict that when I say twirl that I'm going to do this. Come touch. Oh boy. Good. Twirl. Good job. Twirl. Good boy. And I can speed this up now. Twirl. So I'm getting a tighter spin. Twirl. Good boy. And then I can go even shorter, I think, with him. Twirl. Good boy. Twirl. You see, he kind of wandered off that time, but my click brought him back to me to complete the spin. Okay, on your spot. And Ruby knows this really well. I'm just going to keep her on the platform. And I'm going to do her twirl on here. And Ruby has already faded, and she has a hand signal. So what happens is when you bring this down low, you start to create a hand signal. So now with Ruby, I can just go. And that becomes her cue to twirl. Good job. So you see how that works? So we start out with it fully extended. Oh, Ringo had to come get it. You see how much excitement these things cause? So with Ruby, I've already got the hand signal because that's what happens with this. My hands, this turned into this. So with Ringo, I'm putting it on a verbal cue. So I'm saying twirl, and then I'm using my target stick to teach him the behavior. He wants to do it again. Good boy. Good boy. Twirl. Twirl. Good. On your spot. On your spot right now. He gets very excited about this. This is a harder thing to keep them stationed, so we're just working through it. I'm just going through it so that those of you who are working at the very beginning can see how I taught this to Ruby. And if we're fading it, I made it a little shorter. A little shorter. Until I get to here. And then I can just use my hand. Okay? All right. Happy training, everybody.